Prisoners makes us do something uncomfortable almost immediately. It asks us to stand beside a father who kidnaps another human being. Keller Dover is terrified, furious, and certain the police are running out of time. So when Alex Jones whispers that the girls did not cry until he left them, Keller decides uncertainty is a luxury he can no longer afford. He abducts Alex, locks him inside an abandoned building, and begins forcing an answer out of him. The easy version of this story says Keller becomes a monster because grief breaks him. But the film is more precise than that. Keller builds a moral labyrinth one decision at a time, until cruelty starts to feel like responsibility. He still loves his daughter. He still believes he is protecting his family. That is exactly why the transformation is so disturbing. The real maze is not only the mystery surrounding the missing girls. It is the logic Keller creates to convince himself that every new boundary must be crossed. And one unfinished line from the prayer at the beginning reveals the exact moment his faith can no longer follow him. Before anything goes wrong, the film defines Keller through two rituals, prayer and preparation. He opens with the Lord's Prayer while teaching his son to hunt. Minutes later, he explains the rule inherited from his own father: be ready. Store supplies. Expect disaster. Trust yourself when systems fail. None of that is presented as foolish. Keller is loving, disciplined, and genuinely responsible. But his strength contains the seed of his collapse. His identity depends on being the man who acts when everyone else freezes. When Anna disappears, waiting for evidence feels to him like cowardice. Detective Loki can live with incomplete information because investigation requires doubt. Keller cannot. He treats doubt as danger and action as proof of love. Even his phrase, pray for the best and prepare for the worst, begins to change meaning. Preparation stops being a way to protect his family and becomes permission to take control of other people. The film is not saying faith or readiness make Keller violent. It is showing how virtues become dangerous when a man believes only he can decide what the emergency requires. The maze appears everywhere, but not as a simple puzzle waiting for one brilliant solution. Bob Taylor draws it obsessively. Alex repeats that the girls are in the maze. Holly's missing husband once created the book that contains an impossible final labyrinth. Each clue seems to promise a route forward, then bends back into trauma, imitation, or another victim. Alex was taken as a child and never escaped psychologically. Bob was taken too, and spends his adult life recreating the symbols of what happened to him. Loki follows evidence through rooms, basements, drawings, and false suspects. Keller builds his own maze by sealing Alex inside a hidden space and returning again and again for the answer he believes must be there. That is why the symbol matters. A labyrinth is not just a place where someone is lost. It is a system that makes motion feel like progress while leading the person deeper inside the same pattern. Keller thinks he is moving toward Anna. In reality, each turn makes it harder for him to recognize who he has become. The case has a physical solution. Keller's inner maze does not. Keller's most important decision is not the first punch. It is the sentence he uses to make the next punch possible. Franklin asks the obvious question, what if you are wrong? Keller answers by turning the situation into a false choice. Hurt Alex until he talks, or allow the girls to die. Then he goes further. Alex, he says, is not a person anymore. That language removes every competing fact. Alex is frightened, cognitively impaired, and unable to explain himself clearly. He may know something, but Keller treats that possibility as complete proof. Once Alex becomes an object rather than a person, escalation feels logical: tape, beatings, confinement, scalding water, deprivation. Keller interprets every failure to produce an answer as permission to increase the pain. The film carefully shows that his certainty is feeding itself. He hears what he wants to hear, then uses his own reaction as evidence that he was right. Villainy begins here as grammar. Keller does not say, I choose to torture someone because I am desperate. He says there is no choice. The moment he erases Alex's humanity, he also erases his own responsibility. The sharpest religious detail in Prisoners is easy to miss because the film never explains it. At the beginning, Keller recites the Lord's Prayer clearly, "Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us." It establishes a moral relationship. Keller asks for mercy under the same condition that he offers mercy to others. Much later, after Bob Taylor kills himself and the investigation collapses into more confusion, Keller begins the prayer again. This time he reaches the same clause and stops, "as we for." He cannot finish it. The missing words matter because forgiveness has become impossible inside the identity he has built. Keller still speaks to God. He still believes his actions serve a higher duty. But his faith now protects his certainty instead of challenging it. Holly later explains that her campaign was designed to make parents lose their faith and turn into demons. She is a murderer using religious language to rationalize horror, so her judgment is not morally pure. Yet the film makes her description land directly on Keller. She did not create his love. She weaponized the fear inside it. The prayer exposes the cost before Keller can admit it himself. The strongest defense of Keller is also the reason the film remains so uncomfortable. He is not simply imagining everything. Alex knows more than he can explain. He makes the statement in the parking lot. He repeats that the girls are in the maze. Keller's relentless search eventually takes him to Holly, the real kidnapper, and Anna is found alive because Keller refuses to stop. Meanwhile, the official investigation misses connections, follows a false suspect, and arrives late more than once. So it would be dishonest to reduce Keller to a foolish brute. His instincts contain truth. But being right about danger is not the same as being right about what may be done to another person. Alex is not the mastermind Keller imagines. He is one of Holly's earliest victims, abducted as a child and psychologically destroyed. Keller tortures a prisoner who has already spent most of his life inside someone else's crime. The rescue does not travel backward through time and make every act necessary. Prisoners refuses the easy comfort of calling Keller either hero or villain. He saves his daughter through choices that also prove how much of himself he was willing to destroy. When Keller confronts Holly, the film does not give him a triumphant rescue. It gives him a mirror. Holly forces him to drink, leads him outside at gunpoint, and places him in a hidden pit. The man who kept Alex inside a dark room now becomes the person hidden beneath the ground. The reversal is not saying Keller and Holly are identical. Holly kidnaps children deliberately to destroy families. Keller acts from love and panic. Their motives matter. But the structure of their actions has begun to echo. Both isolate a vulnerable person, both claim a larger purpose, and both treat suffering as a tool. Holly calls Keller a demon because creating that transformation was the point of her war. The final chamber of the labyrinth is therefore not the house or the pit. It is the moment Keller sees that his enemy can recognize something of herself in him. He resists, he fights, and he still tries to reach Anna. Yet the film denies him the clean heroic image he wants. To find the monster, Keller had to enter the monster's logic, and that logic finally closes around him. The whistle gives prisoners a hopeful ending, but not a clean one. Anna survives. Loki kills Holly. Keller remains alive beneath the car, using the red emergency whistle his daughter once lost. The object completes a circle. Keller gave it to Anna as a tool for danger, and now the man obsessed with being prepared can only use it to ask someone else for help. Loki nearly leaves. Then he hears the sound, dismisses it, hears it again, and turns. The cut to black strongly suggests that Keller will be found. But rescue is not forgiveness. Grace calls him a good man and thanks God for what he did, while also acknowledging that he will probably go to prison. The film leaves both truths standing. Keller's love helped save Anna. Keller also kidnapped and tortured Alex. The unfinished prayer still hangs over the final scene. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Can Keller offer that mercy? Can the audience offer it to him without pretending the damage did not happen? Keller does not become a monster instead of being a father. He becomes one while remaining a father. That contradiction is the real prison, and the whistle cannot unlock it.